Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 30, text number 16. Shayanah Parishochatbihi Parivitasvabandhuvihi Vachyamanopi na brute Kalapashavasham gataha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. In this way, he comes under the clutches of death and lies down surrounded by lamenting friends and relatives. And although he wants to speak with them, he no longer can because he is under the control of time. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. For formality's sake, when a man is lying on his deathbed, his relatives come to him and sometimes they cry very loudly, addressing the dying man, "O my father, O my friend," or "O my husband." In that pitiable condition, the dying man wants to speak with them and instruct them of his desires, but because he is fully under the control of the time factor, death, he cannot express himself, and that causes him inconceivable pain. He is already in a painful condition because of disease, and his glands and throat are choked up with mucus. He is already in a very difficult position, and when he is addressed by his relatives in that way, his grief increases. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport.
So, in this part of the Bhagavatam, we are reading Lord Kapila's instructions to his mother, and in these verses, we get to see a very close-up view of old age. We can't talk to an animal and make an animal understand you will become old, and at that time you will be helpless and you will die. An animal cannot understand that. That is the special thing about as human beings, we can reflect on these aspects of life. And so Vedic literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam is helping us understand what it is going to be like, and hence what we should do with our lives. So much description is here. No one can say, "Oh, I didn't know old age is going to be so miserable." Bhagavatam words are here, Prabhupada's explanations are here. Shayana parishochatbihi parivithasva bandhubihi. We may be moving around in life, running around, but one day we will not be able to, and we will be confined to a bed. Shayanaha. And parishochatbihi parivithasva bandhubihi. And we will be surrounded by some relatives, friends, and parishochatbihi. They will also be lamenting about us. And at that time, vachyamano pinabrute. When they come to speak, when they come to see. I remember going to one devotee who was suffering from cancer. And I went with some devotees long ago, maybe 20 years ago. And he was a young man relatively with small children. And we went in the evening, and then the children were there too, one boy and one girl. The wife was there. And then we were also there. We spoke a little bit like this. Some sweet, some good words. But then we left after that. And then wife and children also left. Someone else was staying overnight. So I was reflecting. We all come away, and finally that person was alone, staring at the ceiling of the hospital. And nobody is there. And he knows what it is going to be in and I think he was given a few months' time. This is what happens when this kind of diseases come. So how, when we were all together a few hours before, it was nice, devotees, friends, family members, children speaking something. But it's all gone. Actually, it's a very, very fearful situation if someone is not enlightened. And that enlightenment is something that we can acquire as human beings if we are fortunate and directed by Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Because no one can escape that experience. Details may vary, whether it's hospital, it's home, or in the vehicle, where it can be. How quick it is, few months, few years, few days, few hours. Those kind of details will vary, but reality is this. And this is not some fancy, some imagination of somebody. This is hard reality. And Srila Prabhupada many times expressed that how so much we are today in modern days, we are so proud of education, development, all of that. But for these aspects, there is no preparation at all. How one should be prepared to face these realities. There is no training, there is no discussion. Even though there are old age policies and all that, it's all about how to take care of the body. But finally, the individual, what he is going through, he or she is going through, there is no discussion, there is no understanding also about it. That is why here it is said, Kala Pasha Vasham Gataha. We are all under Kala Pasha Vasham. Vasham means under the grip of Kala Pasha. Noose of time. Already there is a noose around our neck. Just somebody has to just pull it. That's it. When it will be pulled, we don't know. But we think that everything is all right. Like the example Prabhupada gave of a sheep in a slaughterhouse. When the sheep or a goat gets some green grass, it's very happy. He's not understanding that Kala Pasham Vasham Gataha. So we should not be like that. That's the intent of the Vedic literatures, to prepare us. So how does Krishna help us? Is there some magic formula? Yes, in one sense there is a magic formula, and that magic formula is devotional service. Through devotional service, we can elevate our state of consciousness. And by that elevation, with knowledge, with purity, with spiritual strength, we will come to a certain state where we can handle all these kind of miseries. It's not a magic in the sense that devotees will not get old, devotees will not suffer, devotees will not die. But that higher, superior knowledge and superior consciousness enables us to have a completely different experience. And the wonderful example Srila Prabhupada gave is a cat holding a rat in its mouth and the same cat holding a kitten in its mouth. The rat and the kitten are exactly in the same situation, held by the jaws of the cat. But we know for the rat what an experience it is. And what an contrasting experience it is for the kitten. The kitten is so happy my mother is carrying me. Whereas the rat is thinking it's my last moments. So, the solution that Krishna gives is gunanetan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimukto amrutam ashnute. This is the solution. Janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimuktaha. How we can be freed from the dukkha of janma, mrityu, jara. Jara is old age, what we are reading here, and the miseries that come with it, and death, the miseries come with it. Vimuktaha, how one can be freed, and amrutam ashnute, and experience immortality. This formula is gunanetan atityatrin. And the process of devotional service that Srila Prabhupada has designed and given us for this age is to do Krishna conscious activities all through the day and have this as a directive in our life to serve his mission. Doing sadhana, doing service, being in the association of devotees. This is the process by which one can transcend the modes. Gunanetan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan. Dehi is the living entity, that's we, the occupant of the body, deha and dehi. And deha is deha samudbhavan. Trin gunan samudbhavan deha. The body which is under the influence or produced out of the three modes of material nature. And atitya, trin gunan atitya. And if we can transcend. When Krishna was describing this in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna was telling about the three modes of material nature. And then he mentions this shloka, gunanetan atityatrin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimukto amrutam ashnate. Immediately after that, Arjuna asks the question. He asks three questions. What are the symptoms of someone who has gunanetan atityaha? What are the symptoms of a person who has transcended? And what is his acharaha? What is his conduct? What is his behavior? And the third question, which is a very important question, how can one transcend? See, actually, we can see how, as Srila Prabhupada explains, Krishna and Arjuna's conversation, actually it is designed for us. It is meant for humanity. Krishna brought the concept of the three modes And then he brought another concept that one can transcend. And immediately Arjuna asked, what are the symptoms of one who has transcended? What is his conduct? And how can one transcend? And the way Srila Prabhupada has designed Krishna consciousness actually helps us go through these, enables us to transcend. Like sometimes we all have some ideas, some desires, some plan we have, and we become very attached to it. Even as devotees, we become attached to some ideas. It may be Krishna conscious idea, serving Krishna in a certain way. Or it could be some other not so Krishna conscious. And sometimes we may not have that opportunity to fulfill that, and we become very unhappy. Even as devotees, because we are serving in an organization, in an institution, and this organization and institution was given by Srila Prabhupada. Many, many times Prabhupada, once in a morning walk, Prabhupada talks about how to do business. Very interesting. He says for business you need 4 things. Land, labor, capital, and organization. And then Prabhupada once says, I was a student of economics. I studied this. In another occasion, when Prabhupada is talking about land, labor, capital, and organization, he says, Krishna says in the Gita, there are 5 factors of action. The 4 are land, labor, capital, and organization. And the 5th is Daiva. So Prabhupada was conscious of this. And so when we are in an organization, when we are in an institution, we want to serve Prabhupada, we want to serve Krishna, we want to serve Prabhupada's mission. And Prabhupada's mission is in the form of an organization. This is one of the very special contributions of Prabhupada and Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there during his time, he would just walk from village to village, get some people, make them chant Hare Krishna, give some class, give some discourse, if they were brahmanas and intellectuals and like that. Otherwise, make everyone chant. And then he would give them some instructions, create a strong influence, Lord himself, you can understand. And then move on to another village. Like that it was. And even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in Jagannath Puri, devotees would come and meet him. There were his very close associates with whom he would discuss philosophy. Things were like that. And after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, the next few generations, there were more devotees. Similarly, they would be following. But during Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's time, it took on an institutional form. A semblance of an organization and institution was there during Bhaktivinoda Thakur's time. Namhatta, but still it was a loosely held organization. A village level, grassroots level organization. It got a more formal institutional format during Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and the same thing Srila Prabhupada further built on and expanded on that model. Because these acharyas, they saw that an organization, which is a very modern, maybe 19th century, 20th century maybe, way of people coming together and accomplishing a certain goal as a very interesting format which can be adopted for serving Krishna's mission, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. And that is how they have given us an institutional format. we are part of an institution and we work together. We have an objective and there are resources to be mobilized and resources to be organized for a certain goal, and we work towards that day after day, and we make institution grow. All of these are features and we are all involved in it. And when we have to do this, we have to be with devotees, because this is an institution of devotees. And when we are with devotees, we are, after all, as human beings, as conditioned souls, we have so many anarthas and something we will be attached to. And then in an organizational format, that great idea, that favorite idea of mine may not get fulfilled. I may not be able to pursue, I may not be able to carry out, but I may be attached, and then sometimes, and then someone can become very disappointed. There are some examples of devotees leaving the organization too. Something happened and something they were not satisfied with. So, actually, when such things happen, when our favorite idea is not taking shape because of the institution has its priorities, there is a hierarchy, there is a decision-making process, and your favorite idea may go down the drain. And then we may feel very bad about it. Actually, how do we face these kind of situations in an institution? We should reflect. Our most favorite idea, it is reality, our most favorite idea of life, our most favorite big idea of life is we have to remain young always, we should never die. But material nature will never allow us, isn't it? So, and then we become sad, like this description is here of a conditioned soul experiencing old age. He is surrounded, parivitasva bandhuvihi. All his loving friends are around him, and they are also very sad. They want to speak to him nicely. And vachyamanopi na brute. They are telling him, and he also wants to speak something to them, his desires he wants to share. But vayuna utkramato uttaraha kafa samruddha nadikaha kasa shvasa kruta ayasaha kante guragurayate. He's trying to say something, some gurugura, some sound is coming. Nothing his desire he cannot express. So graphic, the Bhagavatam's description of what we will go through. So when our most favorite ideas of life are going to be completely crushed, how we can be freed from the miseries? Same formula works even to live in an institution. It's an opportunity for us. We may have some favorite ideas, favorite things like that, and it may go away, it may be taken away, or we may not be able to pursue that. How to remain? Same formula. Gunanetan atityatrim. In fact, Krishna explains Gunanetan atityatrim. Dehi deha samudbhavan. In that, when Arjuna asked the question, what are the symptoms? Krishna's explanation is exactly that. Sama dukkha sukha swastaha, sama loshtashma kanchanaha, tulya priya priyo dhiras, tulya nindatma samstutihi. These are all the symptoms. This is the Krishna combines two questions of Arjuna, symptoms and his conduct and answers them together. And how to transcend the modes, he answers in a separate verse. So that's why Prabhupada combines these and he says, Arjuna submitted 3 different questions and the Lord answers them one after another. In these verses, Krishna first indicates that a person transcendentally situated, etc., what are his symptoms and what his conduct are. And it says, Sama dukkha sukha swastaha. Sukha and dukkha, as one may be experiencing, and he is sama dukkha sukha swastaha. He is situated in that equanimity. He is not disturbed by it. Sama loshtashma kanchanaha. Whether it is loshta, some earth, ashma means a stone, or kanchanaha, gold. He sees them all equally. Samaloshtasma kanchanaha tulya priya priyo dhiras. He may come across something that is very his priya, or it may be apriya. Tulya again means sama. He is equipoised in tulya priya priyo dhiras. And he is a sober person. Something priya may come, something apriya may come. He is tulya. Tulya nindatma samstutihi. And sometimes in ninda may happen. Somebody may speak to us harshly and disgrace us. Or atma samstutihi. Somebody may praise us. Not to get carried away. Not be affected by it. These are all very important symptoms. Because when somebody praises us, we feel very good. Can you do it more, or can you do it more loudly? Can you share with others? This is our inclination. This is complete ignorance. We should think lama sama loshtashma kanchanaha. Whether it is ninda or samstuti, atma samstuti. Just like you find a piece of gold, immediately you will pick it up. You find stone, you will keep picking up? No, not at all. We'll just leave it. So in the same way, to be equipoised, not to be carried away by these things, that is an indication of spiritual advancement. So, if we remember these instructions, because this state of consciousness that Krishna is talking about frees us from all miseries, including the big miseries of life, janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimukto amrutam ashnute. What to speak of small ideas, our favorite ideas within the organization. All of that we can handle if we know what is spiritual advancement that Krishna is talking about. Gunaneta anatityatrin. And as an institution, we have a great opportunity to learn this. An institution creates because there are hierarchy of devotees, there are experienced devotees, more mature devotees, there are young devotees, all kinds of devotees are there. There is always an opportunity of correction, self-correction. We may go off this way, we may go off, because mind plays tricks. Mind can be ripu, a mind can be bandhu. Mind can be an enemy, mind can be a friend. That's the instruction of the Gita. So we should not trust our mind. A mind can get attached to something because it is satisfying the sense gratification. samstuti, atma samstuti, we can get attached to it and we can get blinded. So immediately in an institution, if something manifests like that, there is an opportunity for correction. No, don't get carried away. Don't do this. You shall not do this service. Go and do this service. We are told it's an opportunity for reformation. It's an opportunity for purifying our heart. It's a great system that Srila Prabhupada has given. I've come across some devotees who were in ISKCON, they left and they are somewhere on their own in Vrindavan, in some place like that. And they are doing some devotional service they are doing. We cannot deny they are in Vrindavan. But this opportunity for all these kind of correction, improvement, association of devotees, all these things were in such a systematic way that is available in an institutional format. So, this is a very important feature of Srila Prabhupada's creation, and he was so concerned about this. In 1977, Prabhupada was in Vrindavan, and he was on the bed, very weak. And devotees would do continuously kirtan, soft kirtan would happen in his room. And so once he would often call different leaders of the organization and give them instructions. Once at midnight, Prabhupada woke up. He would sometimes be asleep, sometimes be awake. And he called the devotee who was near him. He said, go and call this so-and-so, one GBC member. And that devotee ran. It was past midnight. And that devotee was sleeping. And they woke him up and they said, please come, Prabhupada is calling. Oh, really, Prabhupada is calling. Immediately he came rushing. And very soft kirtan was going on and Prabhupada was lying. Then he came to the bed. He came very close to Srila Prabhupada's face and then said, Srila Prabhupada, you called for me? Then Prabhupada said, he was speaking very softly, very slowly. And then he asked, do you think this organization will go on without me? And then the devotees said, certainly Srila Prabhupada, if we are sincere, if we chant Hare Krishna, if we follow the regulative principles you have given, certainly this will go on. Then Prabhupada once again, he paused. He was very contemplative. Then he said, with little difficulty, he was speaking. And then he said, intelligence. And then he was silent. After a few moments, again he said, intelligence and organization. And then Prabhupada became silent. And then the devotee came away and then he was reflecting that Prabhupada is saying that yes, we must chant, we must follow regulative principles, we must be sincere. All that is essential. And we also have to act intelligently and we have to be organized. We can't be disorganized and do anything, it's okay. Simply no, we have to be organized. We have to work in an organization. Prabhupada has concern for this organization because this organization has an ability to give shelter to hundreds and thousands and even millions of aspiring devotees and purify them and expand the mission of Krishna. So that is the advantage of an institution, and Srila Prabhupada has given such an institution which can help us learn and practice all of these wonderful concepts Krishna has given as an medicine to transcend the miseries of material life, small or big. Small miseries that we may come across day to day in our lives when we live with devotees. We don't like that person, he is like that, his behavior is like that. Yes, different things will be there in an institution. But we should see the larger purpose. This is Prabhupada's institution. This is Krishna's institution. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's institution. And we must serve. This is how Prabhupada wanted us to live. There was one devotee, one Mataji, from very young, when ISKCON was in the very early stages, she had served Prabhupada and served in ISKCON. But then actually, as ISKCON began to grow, after 70, there was explosive growth. 70, 71, 72. And life changed for devotees. Those young devotees in the very early stages, they would have very close association with Prabhupada. But now as institution grew, Prabhupada became less accessible. The time he would give. And so those younger devotees, early devotees, would find it very difficult. And new leaders are coming, and their new leaders are emerging, and they are becoming powerful, they are making big decisions, and things are happening on a bigger scale, very big scale. And those young, and they could not get, the early devotees could not get Prabhupada's attention, and they would feel a lot. There was a kind of a feeling among those early devotees. So, so all these kind of institutional changes had happened, and one of those early devotees, she wanted to leave. Many of those early devotees went through this kind of a cultural institutional shock. They wanted to approach Prabhupada, but Prabhupada was not easily available. He had delegated it to many other devotees, and they were all in leadership position. So, one of the devotees, one Mataji, she was about to leave, and Prabhupada heard about it and met her, and he said, "Please don't leave. There is no philosophy in the whole world like Bhagavad Gita." And very feelingly, Prabhupada said those kind of things, gave such instruction, but still she left. So such things used to happen. And Prabhupada was very, very unhappy, was very sad about it when devotees left, not able to, understand, adjust according to the situation. Actually, we must see that it is an anartha nivrutti process that's actually working. And in an institution that works, and that enables us to come out of the anarthas, we should see it that way. So it's a great opportunity. And if we have gone through all this, then when we are confined in the bed and we have some disease or something or whatever, and then we have to experience old age and death, vimukto amrutam ashnate. So these are all not fairy tales. These are all not empty promises. And it is not that we just appreciate these things from a scholarly angle. Say for instance, you are in a big hotel room. It's a very big hotel, 300 rooms hotel. And suddenly there is a siren and there is some fire or something. And then you can hear the siren and people running here and there. And then you also want to come out. And then you need some instructions, right? Where to go, how to go. Don't take the lift and all those kind of things in case of fire. So there is usually on the door, they put those instructions in case of fire. And you are supposed to read that carefully, quickly, go this way. It gives you direction. Take this staircase, do this, all that. And then when you are seeing that in that signboard, suddenly you see there is one grammatical mistake in that language there. Or in the design there is something you can improve, and you are thinking about improving that, and the design and the grammar and the improvement of the language, and you're doing all of that. Is it the right thing to do? You have to follow the instructions and save yourself, run away from the fire. This is what scholars are doing. They are reading Vedas, they are reading Bhagavatam, they are analyzing in this way. But Gunanetan Atityatrin, they have missed that. This is what scholarship is all about. They may be analyzing the verses and this and that, explaining unto others all these kind of things, but they are themselves not able to apply that, and that's what the most important purpose of these knowledge is. The most important purpose of that signboard is, in case of fire, how you shall escape yourself and be safe. All these kind of traps exist, and an institution is an opportunity where you can get corrected, and this is the right way. Please keep moving ahead. That's the power of an institution, both for our benefit, the benefit of the society. This is one of the important contributions of Srila Prabhupada. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Srila Prabhupada ki jai.